A 40-year-old goalkeeper denying the kings of Europe. Lukaku saving Belgium literally 20 seconds after stepping on the pitch. And another tactical Saudi masterclass. Day 5 of the World Cup was an absolute graveyard for the heavyweights. And we are breaking down all the shocks, completely unfiltered. And you don't want to miss it. Cue the music. Welcome back to yet another episode of FUT in Review World Cup Daily. My name is John and I'll be your host today. And in the next 25 minutes or so, we'll talk you through everything that happened on day 5. Luckily, I don't have to do that alone. I am joined by my dear friend, James Toland. Welcome back, James. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, John. Good morning to the listeners and the watchers.
How is your World Cup schedule going? Are you getting used to the nighttime watches now?
No, slightly, yes. For some games, I managed to stay up for the Scotland game, then I managed to stay up for the Australia game, then the next day was just mayhem. So I didn't stay up last night for the Iran game, but it was a good set of times for us Europeans, John. I think it was 5 p.m, 8 p.m, and 11 p.m, and then of course the later game at Iran at 2 a.m. So it was a good schedule. So today it was nice and easy. If there was a level to watch the World Cup, I would say it was an easy level yesterday. So that was good.
Yes. We also had a historical day with 4 draws to summarize the results. That was something else. James, shall I just recap them first? We had, of course, Iran versus New Zealand, which honestly, I don't know what you expected, but after seeing the friendly match last week or 2 weeks ago from New Zealand, I expected Iran to absolutely clap New Zealand there, but that didn't happen.
I know, definitely. Was it Iran? Did they get a draw with Spain or another team like that? So their form was actually okay going into it. But New Zealand, they always get beat by a lot of goals, even though they've got Chris Wood up front. But I was surprised at that. Very, very good. But the goal scorer, I managed to see who scored. I was not surprised with the goal scorer. And he had a great season in the Scottish Premier League for Motherwell. So that was pretty good.
Yeah, I actually had to check where he's from. Where he plays from. I know where he's from, obviously. But
yeah, of course.
I was like, oh, that's an interesting player. 2 goals on the World Cup in the first match. That's pretty cool. Some player that stood out to me was Ramin from Iran. I think he's 36-year-old.
Yeah, he plays for Porto, is it? Or he used to play for Porto.
Yeah. Really cool player. Sort of right mid, right forward. What an assist on the second goal there, though. That's
well, you tell me, was it brilliant, John?
Yeah, it was like I'm not much of a fan for crossing, but that was one of those crosses which you just had to touch it and it will go in. It was absolutely perfect. But that ended 2-2, which I didn't expect, but that sets up the group really cool, I think, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Anyone you want to highlight except just for this match?
From the Iran game? No, I was just more surprised that Chris Wood didn't score, but just a fantastic season for Motherwell. So in a way, it was just, pun intended.
Oh, it was definitely just. Well done, mate. That brings us to Saudi Arabia versus Uruguay, which we knew Saudi Arabia would be a very defensive team. They're also called, I think, one of the nicknames was the Desert Wall. And this Desert Wall actually resisted the Marco Bielsa's Uruguay. Got completely frustrated by this Saudi Arabia in a gritty 1-1 draw. I have to say a little shout out to Mohamed Alawai, the goalkeeper. Played a terrific match. This was a far less football fight than I expected. It was really technical, really fast play. And so far, I have to say, I said before the World Cup started that I'm expecting a lot of slow playing, full defensive matches, low scoring, not many attacking teams. But there's been none. Most of the teams just went all out so far. Is it exceeding your expectations as well, James?
Yeah, I would safe to say that. Yeah, definitely. Of course, we'll move on later to the Spain game. That's a different story. But otherwise, before the matches, yeah, it was pretty good. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it was just 2 4-4-2s, just going right at it. Yeah, so like old school, it reminded me of old school. So yeah, definitely. But also I feel Valverde is a wee bit wasted on the right. I don't know about your opinion, John. I would like to see him more central.
Yes, but I don't think they have much options in the team. And did you see that shot he left out in like the 94th minute or something? That was one heck of a shot, although another terrific save there. It really was a day of the goalkeepers. This was also the first time in World Cup history since 1936 or 8, I think, where there were 4 draws where everyone drew on a single day. Except by then there were
Brilliant.
8 teams that did it. So, but it's been 90 years or something. So,
Fantastic. I love stats like that.
Belgium versus Egypt. Now, I said this could be a spectacle. Belgium, of course, has a star power of Courtois. They had Mechelen. I don't know if you've seen that defender, but I think that's a really standout defender. Of course, De Bruyne, Tielemans, and basically they go up against the speed from Mamouche and Salah. This went a little bit different than I expected as well with a 1-1 draw. Not only the 1-1 draw, but this was a spectacular match to watch, I think.
Yeah, it was good. I was quite surprised again that Belgium didn't really steamroller them, to be honest with you. They've got a lot of quality in that Belgium team. Of course, Egypt up front as well with Manouche and Salah. But it was actually quite an even game. I expected also to possibly the height difference be an issue, maybe in corners. Like I was expecting maybe on Onana to actually score in that game. But it wasn't to be. It was a draw, and I'm sure Belgium will go away from that very, very frustrated.
Yeah, although the group itself isn't really strong, right? So I don't expect it to have any consequence drawing here.
Yeah, true.
But still, I did put Belgium on 9 points, and I did expect them to beat Egypt. Although Egypt is, of course, a pretty good and steady fight. Like they don't concede many goals either, so it's usually a very strong team.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting match. I think the most interesting match for me was, of course, the sensation in Atlanta. Tournament debuts Cabo Verde pulled off the ultimate World Cup miracle to start off against the reigning European champions Spain to a sort of embarrassing 0-0 draw. But we have to praise the 40-year-old keeper Vozinha, who earned instant worldwide gold status and about 10 million Instagram followers with a string of heroic saves. Like, of course, they went in defensive, James, but did Spain disappoint you, or is it something that just can happen, or anything you want to highlight from this match?
The way they operated, it was typical Spain, really. You know, the passes, and then obviously Cucurella making the wing back play, and then they cutting in. Ferran Torres should have actually scored that chance. They hit the bar. So I wasn't really surprised by that. And as a Scotsman, I'm certainly not surprised. You know, we beat Spain. I need to add that in, John. But also as well, it reminded me of a result years and years ago between Celtic and Barcelona. They didn't really have the cutting edge up front like Celtic that night, but they certainly defended like warriors. And Celtic beat Barcelona 2-1 in that night. So it was very similar with the Spanish to last night's game. But I was pleased with the goalkeeper. Absolutely fantastic. Don't quote me on the exact figures, listeners and watchers, but I believe he had X amount of followers before the game, and then all of a sudden it just skyrocketed up to 1.5 million. And then John told me as well it's went up to
now, yeah.
10 just now. So I like stories like that, John. Absolutely fantastic. So he was certainly a baller, definitely.
So this is one of those matches that followed also a lot in the Netherlands, because many of these Cape Verdean players actually were born in Rotterdam or in the Netherlands.
Right,
Most are from Rotterdam. So Rotterdam has a big population of Cape Verde, or Cabo Verde, I should say, of course. And you actually saw that had some terrific results. I absolutely saw people running on the streets. And I said it yesterday on yesterday's shows. This is what football is about. Football is about passion. Football is about celebrating. And I hope that the same thing would happen, of course, with Curacao. But, well, Germany didn't have any sympathy for it. But no matter what happens, no matter how defensive these teams are, there's no good reason why Spain shouldn't beat them, right?
Yeah, of course. Oh, definitely. They certainly had the quality, John, without
And
a
the
shadow of a
chances.
doubt. Yeah, and the chances, like I just highlighted about Ferran Torres, and that was just one chance really that they should have actually put away that I just mentioned. There's loads of chances that they should have put away. So yeah, quite surprised. 0-0 again. The Spaniards will be very, very frustrated. Do I still see them going out the group? Yeah, of course, of course. But it was a really historic point for Cape Verde. And remember, we done a show on the 4 debuts, and we're like, no chance they haven't got with Spain. So it's always good to get proved wrong.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, this was. I think it's also a perfect storm. I think Spain, of course, have come some players that have to be rested, like Jamal. When Jamal, like this Spain is good, mate, I think, but I do feel that if they don't have their wingers up front, it is a completely different team, right? And we saw
Yeah,
the difference Lukaku made when he came in for Belgium. We saw the difference Jamal made when they came in. Yeah, Jamal gave an insane assist, but he also, or it didn't go in, so he did it's a cross. But also he gave one of those passes with the outside of his foot from the right side behind enemy lines. That showed how much talent this guy has. And I'm not worried about Spain. I don't think this means anything for the tournament. But I think that goalkeeper and the defense had an amazing defensive result, amazing fighting spirit. But there's one stat in this match which I got to highlight. They made one fall doing it, just one.
one foul. That's fantastic, isn't it?
So if you can hold off Spain for 90 minutes and you do that by playing purely defensive, but you do that without fouling, but does that mean the team has been superb on the defense? Or does it mean that Spain didn't try hard enough? What do you think?
It's a very, very good question. I would probably say that they got their tactics absolutely spot on. Maybe they understood what they were going to do with Spain. They understood what they were going to do, and Spain couldn't really catch them off guard. So I would possibly say that they got their tactics absolutely spot on.
Flawless, you should say.
Flawless, yeah. Yeah.
No, I thought that was an insane performance, an insane stat. Like I saw that and was like, oh, it's not only the fact that they played, they fought well, they did well, and like the atmosphere in the stadium was absolutely terrific, and of course Vozinha being the man of the match. And they had no shots on goal, by the way. I looking at the stats, and they had 394 passes for Spain and 182 for Cape Verde, with 4 shots on target and 13 attempts versus 3 attempts and 0 shots on target. But it's not like they were killing football doing it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I totally get you.
So compliments for them.
Yeah, definitely.
Before we dive into the matches that are up next, we always say in this show, who's going to be the baller, who's going to be the bottler, and where was the drama? James, for you, who was the baller from yesterday's round?
Oh, it has to be the Cape Verde goalkeeper, without a shadow of a doubt, John. Do you agree?
Yeah, Vozinha. I think 40 years old. So the nice thing was watching the match with my daughters, and I'm 41 years old, retired goalkeeper, just saying. And they were like, hey, if he could play on the World Championship, why aren't you doing this? Like, have you seen your father walk these days? There's no way. So I double applaud him for that. I think that was an amazing performance.
Excellent.
A steady 10 out of 10. And as a goalkeeper, right now, these are those matches you maybe play once in your life,
Exactly.
Like it's just everything goes your way. You take it, but I do think like what really stood out for me, not only the saves, of course, and he was actually, I think his passing was good as well. But what really stood out how calm he was. It's easy to lose your head if you keep getting goals or shots aimed at you constantly, right? But he was keeping calm.
Course.
He was boosting his team. He crying, of course, after the match helps your getting your followers as well. But yeah, so just go follow him. I think it's amazing, and I agree. Yeah. This is by far this was the only baller that could be in. If I would give anyone a second, like a shout out, would be maybe Lukaku. because I think Lukaku, he came in, he didn't score. Like, I think it's an own goal. I don't know if he got the goal or not on his name, honestly.
I think it was an own goal, but I'm not too sure on that.
But he came in, the cross came, and like the ball immediately went in. So you see how much attention a good number 9 can actually draw in a team, and how much of a right-wing lot it can be, right?
Yeah, definitely. Totally agree, John.
So who's the butler here, James?
The butler, you could probably go through the whole Spain squad, really.
If there's anyone you should highlight, I know who I'm going to say, though.
Specifically, I'll probably say, since I brought it up, Ferran Torres for the chances. What would you say, John?
I would say Rodri.
Rodri?
Yeah, because of his interview after the match.
Yeah, the man's always moaning about something, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean it happened, but he says it. I'm just going to quote him here. I don't want to get him wrong, but he said we knew it was going to be a game of patience. They dropped back very quickly, and we couldn't put him in. I mean, that was to be expected, but okay. It's tough against such a physical and compact team. The positive thing is that they didn't create anything against us. They play like that in the end and don't even get past the midfield. I mean, I think that was the whole idea of this match, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
It feels a little bit like sore loser in this sort of drawer if you are going against the opponents. What do you expect from a country that small or a team that small, where your striker is your right winger that was on the bench is worth 100 times the total value of your opponent's team? Is there anything you can expect there as well? So I found the common, the whole Spain, of course, was the bottlers, but I think Rodri's interview afterwards just gave the bottler a name in this situation for me.
Yeah, good point, John. I would agree with that then. Yeah, definitely. And of course, the man's passes were not really up to scratch as well. So he didn't really have his own best performance. Instead of taking accountability, if you will, he just blamed it on other factors. And, it was the exact same after the Scotland game as well. So there's no surprises there. So, yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely Rodri for bottler.
Drama then. Who do you want to name the drama? Because I definitely know who's the drama here for me, though.
Yeah, I think we're 100% no doubt about this one, John. The Tunesia manager, am I correct?
Yes, sir. Sabri Lamouchi.
Yes. It's just crazy. After one game, he's gone. It's just unreal, unbelievable.
Well, he spent 5. So Lamouchi spent 5 games. He joined in January.
Mm-hmm.
Put in 5 games. He lost 3 of those games, including the friendly. It's not completely new that someone gets sacked during the World Cup. It happened 3 times in total. The last time was at the 1998 World Cup. But the weird part was, all right, Hervé Renard has stepped in to fill the void, so he will join. But here's the thing. I know a couple of people that are in the US now because of the work, like a representative or coaching or managing, assisting analysts, etc. Basically are in the staff. And what they have to do here, they have to put in the papers, put in the passports, having to fill in forms. Then it takes a couple of days before you can even get into the country. Hervé Renard was actually already in the country because he already was working there, apparently.
Right, okay.
But it feels like they also already had a backup plan in place, because you can't switch this easily this year either in this situation, right?
Yeah, totally, John. So they must have had a backup plan. I knew the form wasn't great going into it, but I thought they wouldn't, straight away go after one match, even though it was terrible. And since the theme is on the goalkeepers, it looked like that goalkeeper won a raffle to be the goalkeeper of that team, But been saying that with with the man that you mentioned. I've got shocking pronunciation skills, so I don't want to butcher his name. So if he's already in the country and he's got his papers, then yeah, it needs to be that they've seen a plan B and they've executed it. And correct me if I'm wrong, John, but is this the gentleman that was the manager of Saudi Arabia in the last World Cup, or have I get that totally wrong?
No, you are completely right. In 2022, he was manager of Saudi Arabia, and before that, I actually managed Morocco, I think, in 2018.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So he's got World Cup experiences, and I think, like for the Dutch, it's like we played Tunesia in a 1.5 week or something. But it's I saw the match versus Sweden. Everyone was like, "Okay, Sweden is really good," but oh my gosh, was Tunisia tactically superbly poor this way, opening up everything, just stepping out when you have to step in. Everything went wrong there defensively. So I sort of get it. This is also, I said, it's the third time a coach gets sacked during a World Cup, but it's the first time they get sacked after one round. So there's still records to be broken there. But that's definitely drama, James.
Yeah, definitely. And for our listeners and our watchers, I would like you to comment in the comments and tell us who was the last manager to get sacked. John gave you a clue of 1998, so we'll leave it up to the listeners and the watchers and see if they can comment correctly. And come on, guys, don't use Google.
Well, I'm afraid I will have to, if I'm honest. And to be completely fair, I did my research before doing the show, else I wouldn't even know it. I was like, did we ever experience that? I actually don't know. I have to look it up. And then I saw it happen 3 times. So there's that. I think we'll see. I don't think the difference will be humongous, but like you can put in a team and be compact with any team, right? And I think that what against Sweden was just absolutely horrific. Sport of managerial football, and I think I get why it has consequences. It's just never been seen before, and I find it funny that they already have a coach prepared for it, because it takes 2 weeks to get in the country. So I was like, okay, and they're in Mexico, but they have to travel to the US as well. So it's it's a bit of it's a weird spot to be in. But I'm curious how this gets on. I don't hope it gets too well for them, because the Netherlands are still playing them. So
yeah, exactly. It's a tough group. It's a tough ask to get any points now.
It's definitely. Do you want to talk about drama with a certain assistant VAR referee still doing something, or?
Yeah, if you wish. There was talk of the town on the World Cup news about the Australian VAR. He done a sign back in Australia school days, and even my own school days. If you done a circle with your hand, it was just a prank, and you were to give someone a dead arm or a dead leg. But that's now, I believe it's represents a gang sign or represents a
white
political
power, apparently.
or a political party. So if that's the case, John, then that's terrible. But if we have just jumped the gun and it's just a prank, then okay, fair enough. But I believe, and I don't know if his comments are correctly, but he said he didn't mean to do it. It was a twitch. So that sounds alarm bells in your head automatically. If it was just a joke, you would just say it, So don't get me wrong, the quotes may be fake, but that's what I've seen as well. So it was big drama about the Australian VAR.
It definitely needs some investigation, though, because
yes.
I think FIFA is on it now as well, but that doesn't mean the world, unfortunately, I'd say. But we need to have a statement on that, and I think the fact they put out the referees like this, maybe it wasn't that smart to do anymore.
Yeah, totally, definitely.
But it's it could be a very big spot on this World Championship, or World Cup, I say. But I think it needs a quicker response, mate. I think. Do you think?
Yes. Definitely.
It's been 3 days now since that happened, and we waited for reporting on it because I thought actually we could have a statement and put it out of the but it's still sort of all up in the air. It feels a bit weird. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. What's not weird, by the way, is following us on socials, because I see lots of people on TikTok commenting on our socials. Love you guys for it. It's at FUT IN Review Podcast, FUT IN Review Podcast. And of course, at FUT IN Review, FUT IN Review on Instagram. give us a 5-star review on Spotify and or Apple Podcasts. It takes about 10 seconds of your time, and it means the world to me. Every time you do it, apparently a big bell goes off in Chris's office. But since James is now the last Scotsman hosting this show, it means the bell will be placed in James's house. So if you want to wake up James early, make sure to drop that 5-star review on any platform. Of course, you can check out our blogs and all of our episodes as well and see the crew, etc., on futinreview.com. And we'll be back tomorrow. See you then. Bye-bye.